Hey guys, welcome back. Jumping right into game 4 of this best of 5 series. Really excited to be casting this. This action has really been heating up in this particular matchup. We've got Squirtle here. He's going to be the 2 o'clock Blue Protoss player. Squirtle's opponent, once again, e.g. Idra, spawning at the 12 o'clock of Scrap Station. So this, once again, is going to be game 4. Squirtle right now is leading 2-1, and Idra really, everything on the line at this point. If he loses this game, he's out of the tournament, and that would be a huge disappointment for Idra. I mean, recently moving away from Korea, wants to try and make some money at these tournaments. Lots of different live tournaments going on this year, and this one, has got a pretty good prize pool, and of course Idra's going to want to take this game. He needs to win the next 2 games. So let's see what he has in store for us. Once again, Squirtle scouting pretty early with this probe. Idra at 14 supply. I'm wondering if he's going to go pool first or hatchery first. Gateway at the top of the ramp on Scrap Station. Very large ramp on Scrap Station, actually. Much larger than many of the other maps. Actually, pool first for Idra. So very similar openings in each of these 4 games. He has not gone hatchery first yet. The probe for Squirtle hasn't scouted the pool yet, and it's just hanging out, going to try to block the hatchery for when it does go down. I'm sure Idra here is going to put down a hatchery in just a minute or 2. Scrap Station, definitely a map friendly to fast expansions. You can, as long as you defend this general area here, you can, pretty competently defend your main base and your natural. The key thing is to keep an eye on these destructible debris. You'd be surprised the number of pro players who actually fail to have vision of the destructible debris, and they get taken out and they don't even realize before it's too late. So that's often unfortunate, but we'll see if that plays in today. Squirtle walling off, as I mentioned before, the top of his ramp. Sometimes you'll see Protoss players wall off at the bottom and try to put buildings down here in PvZ. But that's becoming a little bit less common because roaches now, with their longer range, can get shots off at the wall and still outrange cannons or outrange stalkers. No problem. Assimilators, 2 of them are up already, and Idra is getting a hatchery finally. Wondering when Squirtle is going to put down that fast expansion. Pylon going down over here for Squirtle. It's good to spread out your pylons, just as Squirtle is doing a good job of spread them out. Allows you to warp in units anywhere you want and maintain vision. Keep an eye out for drops or mutas, like any kind of air harassment actually. Chrono boosting out more workers. I'm wondering if he's going to be boosting warp gate research as well. This probe now, of course, does scout the hatchery. Squirtle realizes that Idra's not going to go for any kind of crazy one base all in, which would be very uncharacteristic of Idra anyway. And now what I'm curious about is what buildings we're going to have in Squirtle's base. So he's going 3 gateway. Let's see if he puts down another Stargate. Squirtle has gone for Stargate, Tech, and Void Rays and Phoenix in every single game so far, but he hasn't really put down, no Stargate just yet. The Overlord does see one of the gateways. He's going to be, Idra could move this Overlord up a little bit, spot the second gateway as well. Pylon going down at the bottom of the ramp. Map control going to Idra at this point. Scouting probe was eliminated, no problem. So Idra doesn't have to worry about that. 2 queens out already. I'm wondering if Idra's going to go for a third. Often he does. In the past few games he has gotten 3 queens. Nexus on the way. Idra knows this. Let's see how Idra reacts. He gets these 2 Zerglings in, and as we see right now, they have their wings. Ooh, can you slip them by? No. But that doesn't really matter. Idra actually... Well, I just said it doesn't matter because Idra can scout if he wants with this Overlord, but he's still failing to move it. It'd be nice for Idra if he could just move it up a little bit. But yeah, he doesn't know about the 3rd gateway just yet. And we do have a forge going down, and I bet you he's going to put a pylon down in this area here, like I mentioned before. Very important to keep an eye on these destructible debris. We'll just have to keep an eye out for that, though. And also take note, we do have Hallucination on the way. Hallucination recently buffed so that it researches much faster. I think it used to be 110 and now it's only 80. So we're going to see how Hallucination comes into play. I mean, there hasn't really been much scouting that Squirtle has done. So you can hallucinate a Phoenix. That's been the primary use of Hallucination. The Overlord did get taken out over here as well. Let's take a look at the vision of Idra. He did scout the third Warp Gate with that Overlord before the Stalker took out the Overlord. And like I was mentioning before, the hallucination now finished, and he actually hallucinates a couple Phoenix, and gonna get lots of scouting information with these very fast hallucinated units. Spots the Overseer, Roach Warren, and Lair Tech as well. We have a robotics facility going up just at the bottom of the ramp here. And now, after Maynarding some probes down to the natural, getting some good saturation going on. A couple of idle workers there for a moment. And interesting, Idra's actually taking out the destructible rocks of his own. So he's not worried about any pressure, at least not in the near future. He does have this Overseer and gets all that scouting information, knows really everything that the Protoss player is doing. And given that information, Idra's, more than confident to take these out. He'll just increase mobility of his army just a little bit. And once again, this Phoenix here does spot the Evo chamber. And if he gets a glimpse of... Well, if he did get a glimpse of the Roach Warren, you could see that it's producing something, and of course that's going to be the Roach speed. So Idra could very well be going for a heavy Roach play. He's getting Burrow as well, and Roach speed along with... He might even get Tunneling Claws. We'll have to wait and see, though. I'm not sure if he's going to go for that. But at the same time, watch out. Squirtle here moving out, taking the long route. Squirtle not opting to take out these destructible rocks. He's just going to, go down and around. He has a good position on the pylon as well. It's good to have this pylon on the high ground. The Zerg player can't see it when he runs by, and it allows you to warp in units down on the low ground. And now Squirtle going to be moving in and attacking the third base of Idra. A couple of roaches getting caught out of position. And the hatchery is forced to cancel. The drone gets killed as well. Colossus on the way now that the robotics bay has completed. Still just 3 gateways. Of course, Colossus, very expensive units, so off of 2 bases, especially when you're getting these heavy, these expensive upgrades, Squirtle's just going to fund the 3 warp gates for the time being. But as I say that, he's putting down an additional 3. So as the macro really starts kicking in for Squirtle and the income starts to really climb, he's going to need these additional warp gates to produce units and just keep his bankroll down. Still using these Phoenix to scout. Is he going to spot anything new and exciting? He may spot the Spire. Spire nearly complete along with the Hydra Den, and he is going to spot both of those key tech structures, Spire and Hydra Den. Once again, Idra favoring the Carapace upgrades, and we talked about that in the last video. Definitely makes sense as a Zerg player in ZVP, and I mean that's what Idra's favoring. Now map control sort of battling for it. 1 Colossus only, and are these Speedlings going to get a good surround? A couple of force fields, it allows the Protoss player to escape, but at the same time, Squirtle did lose some units there. We even have a Warp Prism out as well. Very interesting tech choice. I think the Warp Prism is a unit that is going to be used more and more. Stargate out as well, getting his initial Void Ray out. He's actually got a second Stargate, so he's going to be pumping out 2 Void Rays, chrono boosting them out. And map control really going to Idra, spreading creep very quickly, getting a very... similar unit composition to the past couple games where he's, opened up with roaches. Although this time around he's getting the roach upgrades and also getting hydras as well. Is Idra going to be looking to take a 4th anytime soon? He doesn't necessarily have to immediately. He knows where the Protoss player Squirtle is at with respect to bases. He knows Squirtle's kind of stuck on 2 bases. It's going to be hard for Squirtle to take a 3rd just because of the map control and the creep spread and just the amount of attacking units very quickly climbing. 145 supply for Idra, 116 for Squirtle. And good map control again with Idra. Spreading out the overlords. He's going to keep an eye out for any drops. He's going to know the positioning of, you know, the Void Rays and whatnot. It'd be nice if these Void Rays would go out and pick off some of these overlords. These Void Rays could get quite a few kills uncontested. But very shortly, we are going to have some Corruptors on the map as well. An Observer here just keeping an eye on the Roach presence down here at the Zelnaga. And even getting some air upgrades. So, I mean, it's going to be a pretty tough air battle for Squirtle going up against Corruptors. Corruptors just dominant armored anti-air units. And, yeah, hopefully for Squirtle's sake, with some air upgrades, the +1 attack that's being researched at the Cybernetics Core, yeah, he might be able to battle the Corruptors. The Sacrificial Overlord as well for Idra gets taken out, but not in vain at all. I mean, he does get all that vital scouting information. Does he actually? He doesn't know about the second Stargate, so he may assume one Stargate production for Squirtle. And a ton of Corruptors coming out. I'm wondering when and if Idra is going to go for some lair tech. He needs an infestation pit, of course, which we don't see it on the production tab yet. And I was just mentioning that because he's so Corruptor heavy, he could make the transition into Broodlords. Does take out the Warp Prism, that's 200 minerals there. And Idra, of course, knows about the couple pylons down at this base here. So it seems like Squirtle tried to sneak an expansion down here, but Idra is having none of it. Going to take out these destructible debris very quickly. And I thought maybe Squirtle might have tried to go for some kind of counterattack, taking out the destructible rocks, but doesn't look like that. This is a pretty deadly Protoss ball, and this is pretty common amongst Protoss players. You know, just play the defensive role for a little bit until you get just a scary amount of units. I mean, let's take a look at the unit counting station, actually. 10 Void Rays, 4 Colossus, along with a handful of Stalkers and Sentries, and a good number of Zealots as well, 13 Zealots. Now they're going to be going up against a ton of Roaches and, oh god, even more Corruptors. I mean, it's 24 Roaches and 21 Corruptors, but 21 Corruptors is a lot, and they are definitely going to come in handy when dealing with this attack. The destructible rocks just melt away to the Void Rays, and ooh, it almost would have been smart to get a quick attack off while the Void Rays were charged. The Void Rays were charged up a moment ago, but they're not charged anymore. All these Corruptors come in. This is a huge battle for air control. But the Corruptors actually focused down the Colossus first, and now they're backing up. They could get some shots off on the Void Rays, but they need the support of the Hydralisks as well that were delayed because of the force fields and continued force fields and Guardian Shield. But look at the production tab, 17 Hydras, like 36 Zerglings as well, reinforcing his army very quickly. The scary macro of our Zerg player Idra really kicking in and getting a pretty good flank off, getting a good concave. Idra is getting a lot of damage with these Hydralisks just pouring in from all sides of the map, all the different hatcheries, and these Hydras are going to just devastate this Protoss army. A lot of the Protoss units forced to flee. A lot of the Void Rays getting taken out, like virtually all of them, except for a couple maybe escaping. But if we take a look at the units lost tab, Idra has lost slightly more resources worth of units, but I mean, he's been mining so much more, so that it really is in favor at Idra, in Idra's favor at this point in the match. You know, it doesn't matter that he's lost slightly more resources of units when you're mining off of 4 bases compared to just 2. So Squirtle here losing lots of really expensive units. It's a little bit hard to replace this this kind of army from the Protoss player, but Squirtle realizes he's behind. He kind of has to do something now, or he's basically going to lose the game. He's just going to get out macroed so hard. He needs to do some damage, attempting to supply block Idra, but it's just not enough, and that's it. Squirtle calls GG. These Hydras just too powerful. So that's game 4, and it's all tied up dead even 2-2 in this series. Idra battles back, and we're going to move on to the ace match. So check out game 5 both of these players going to be playing with their souls, trying to seal the victory. So check out Game 5. I'll post a link right here. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, peace out.